Welcome back. Now let's talk about mental health and well-being.
In the
Wake
workplace.
up, hustle and bustle. You have to meet targets. You have to ensure that this is done, that is done. As someone who engages in one form of work or another, how can you distress?
Yes.
How can you ensure that you are prepared better for the next day,
Yes.
for the next week, for the next month? So
Yes.
depending on how you want to
Yes.
scale it, but I think
And for us, we have to be here for you. 9 to 12,
yes,
3 hours.
it's part of distressing. Just you're at home, just lounging. You have tea, coffee,
Yes.
whatever you're using to relax. It's part of it. So let's be joined now by the founder of the Care Inn, Oluwaseun Dosunmu, who joins us virtually. Is it cold? Yes, I see it's cold on your side. Good to see you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for having me. To be frank, yeah, the weather is really cold.
Yes.
And I would say that I'm really excited to join this conversation because it's, focusing heavily on well-being. And this is, a conversation that is global. So having this conversation at this time is quite essential. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Now, let's talk about, we want to narrow this discussion down to workers, everyone who's got a 9 to 5, business to run, market to sell, whatever you do as a worker, how do you distress? Yes, in the course of, you're working, you find out that in meeting targets, you want to stress yourself, you want to overstretch yourself. But how then do you ensure that the other part of your life, which is your health, is also optimum?
So first of all, I know the word distress is not something a lot of Nigerians embrace because we assume we're built to be resilient, and that is even causing us, more physical stress and in fact mental stress. For workers who, have to drive to work, have to do their regular jobs, work from 8 to 5 or 8 to 6, and then head back home, to, be in the traffic for 2 hours. I mean, you have to be intentional about distressing. You have to create plans to ensure that you're distressing efficiently, so you don't break down. So one of the ways that I usually encourage people to rest is for us to take spa treats. I'm a massage advocate, and I know that massage does really help in terms of distressing. It helps in managing stress. For those who can afford it, I would recommend, depending on your schedule, and your lifestyle, to adopt massage sessions or spa treats generally as a way of distressing. For some other people, it will require that you need to start speaking up, talking to people about how you're feeling. And in this context, it means offloading what you've got on your chest, offloading, those heavy thoughts that are weighing you down and really causing you a lot of mental stress. For some people, they even struggle to get quality sleep, which is not really good for the overall well-being. So I would encourage, if you can, if you have trusted sources around, you can leverage on offloading and having those deep conversations that you really will not have with your boss or your colleagues at work. But I mean, if you can pick up that phone and ring someone and just offload, I mean, that can help you in distressing and decluttering those thoughts that are quite heavy on your mind. I also believe that, if you want to distress, you also need to, like I said, be intentional. You need to know when work is over and when it is time for rest. So when it's time for rest, I mean, this is not the time where you scroll through, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram for all the conversations that may not really concern you. You need to reduce your number of hours, reduce your number of, you know, interaction on social media, because this can cause you to be highly aware and alert. But then if you're resting, you don't need to be at top of such level. You need to distress. So I'd encourage people to clearly have plans for rest, which is include sleep, going for spa sessions, taking breaks when necessary. If you feel like, this workload is too much, you could just ask for a break, to just clear your mind and also relax.
With this, nowadays, now we've moved to a state where COVID has taught us that you don't always have to be in the office to get the work done. So a lot of companies have shifted to virtual work environments. But with that also comes the consequence of not being able to balance when you're working and where you're at home. And you just touched on it, never truly entering into the state of rest, because you're always, once you're at home, you have not really clearly defined that boundary that I'm at work and now I'm at home. How do we define that boundary, and how do we ensure that we stick to it?
Again, we've come to realize that, times can evolve and transform how we work, and our settings can actually change per time. Our new reality is that we are, merging working from the office and working from home. However, because we're talking about distressing and doing it the right way, I believe that, when you are working, you have a certain hour, for instance, 8 to 5. And once you are done at 5, you need to shut down your system. Try as much as possible not to allow the work linger into your rest time. If it does, that means you're on the end losing hours of rest, which might cause you more stress, might cause you, aside from the sitting posture, which is also like a physical challenge that you might be battling with due to sitting for too long or being in a sedentary position. So you might also need to consider that, the earlier you shut down, that's finish work, and, take your break or go into your rest mode, the better for you. I also feel that aside from being intentional, again, like I said, you have to also, have clear strategies as to how to continue to define what work duties are and what home duties are. So if you are able to have that understanding that, I'm not having work conversations during my rest time, and I'm not talking rest while I'm at work, it helps you, have that understanding of what to do when you're, in either work mode or rest mode.
Right. But that's in an ideal environment. We're talking about ideals now. But there are times when you have constant deadlines that even if you're working 9 to 5 and you leave work at 5 p.m., for instance, but you're not done with what you need to do. So which means that your rest time is shortened because you probably have to get to the office earlier the next day to finish up on that deadline. That so that you don't miss it. So, I mean, how do we balance this out?
So it's not going to be like a one-way solution for all, and every situation would never be the same. But if we're talking about distressing here, then there's a need for you to understand that you have to make efforts, conscious efforts, to advancing your rest time. So in cases where you have to work overtime to deliver on deadlines, yes, those are peculiar times that may not happen all of the time. So if you're having to do 6 days a week just to meet up with the deadline, then that's fine. But you know that once you're done, you need to actually take a break and rest properly, if you understand what I mean.
for, okay, this deadline, you have it. Now, let's talk about the one that between healthy ambitions that you have and some, unrealistic ambitions that can put you under immense pressure.
I mean, it's today is the 31st of January and 2026. I know 30 days ago we're all,
Well,
Happy
Happy New
New
Year.
Year. We're all writing down our goals. We're all, strategizing on, oh, first quarter I have to deliver on this, and this. And fast forward, this is the 31st day of January. I'm sure some of us have not ticked off all of the things we wrote down. But I mean, it's the days are going to go by, and we just have to come to that realization that yes, there's that ambitious side of us who wants to get things done. However, we also need to know that if we fail at meeting a deadline, we can always reschedule, we can always rearrange things as long as it's not life-threatening. So we need to like have that understanding, and empathy for ourselves to say, if I don't meet my deadline as per personal development at this time, then it's fine. The one that is toxic, that causes you not to have that overstresses you or causes you physical pain or puts you in positions where you're not having enough family time. If you've got a family, not having quality time with your partners, not having, quality time to sleep, then you can tell that's becoming toxic because it's having an adverse effect on your health, your physical and emotional health. So if you realize that these goals that I'm setting for myself or these efforts that I'm putting into trying to achieve these goals is having this adverse effect on my health, my relationships, or even finance sometimes, then it's necessary to take a pause to, redefine and re-strategize. But above all, having goals, having ambitions are very essential. I mean, that's what drives us as human beings. But again, when it starts to take you past that, having quality time with your family, quality time for relationships, or it's even, causing you regular stress where you have to indulge in using painkillers almost every day, that leads to, misuse of drugs or medications. Now that's not very healthy. So I think at that point you can tell that this isn't good for me.
I'm glad you touched on sleep because it will seem as if we underestimate the power of sleep when it comes to rest and mental well-being. You are in London, so you know about when people pack shifts. Maybe that's not how we do it in Nigeria, but we also have some of those things that will make us, oh, I need to meet this deadline. I'm not sleeping. I will try and make up for it. Most of the time, it doesn't work that way because sometimes when you have lost that sleep, you may never regain that time again. So let's talk about the very important part that sleep will play in distressing.
Okay, it's good that you just highlighted the different countries, and Nigeria. We don't have a lot of shift. We don't work in shift patterns. Basically, you just go to work, do your 8 to 5, and then you're off. Here in the UK, it's more of yes, you've got a lot of sectors that employ the shift patterns, hence having people work more over the over 7 days. Let me put it that way. Unfortunately, we've had cases of people, going to bed at night and not waking up the next morning. When we ask or when we inquire about, the lifestyle of such an individual, oftentimes it's said that, this individual has been working back to back shift and they are not getting enough rest. this is going to lead me to, the importance of sleep. Some people are on permanent night shifts, and they don't enjoy the night rest as usual, and they have to come back at work in the morning and start their day again. This is causing a lot of people mental and physical stress. It's increasing, their blood pressure. A lot of people are not even cognizant of, how their blood pressure works, and some are living with really high blood pressure and they don't even know by working consistently. They are losing quality hours of sleep, and they are not even getting professional help. So all of this, adds up to the negative impact on their overall well-being. But I mean, sleep is very essential. From research, 7 to 8 hours, very good. If you can get more than that, then that's fine. In fact, I said earlier that I'm an advocate for spa treats and massage therapies. What you can get from a 1 hour session sometimes equates to about 8 hours sleep. You find some clients sleeping during a massage session. That's an indication of how the body is tired and requires a lot of rest. So one of the things I recommend for people is, if you can't afford it, just always book yourself. If you are not sleeping well at night, you probably might sleep during a massage session if you can.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the insights you've shared with us today. We've been having a chat with the founder of the Care Inn, Oluwaseun Dosunmu, joined us virtually from the United Kingdom. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. It was an insightful discourse, and I just hope a lot of Nigerians can prioritize, well-being for what it is. I know the country is not the way it should be in terms of economic situation, but I mean, we still need to prioritize rest and prioritize our well-being.
Yes, right. Because you need to stay alive and healthy to be able to, work at any time. Thank you so much for your time again.
Thank you, and bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.